Hey y'all, I'm Jackie, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with medication, specifically citalopram for postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And just to give you all an idea of what I'm going to include in this video, I want to give you guys a little backstory about my depression and anxiety before getting pregnant, what I experienced after getting pregnant, how I decided to get on my medication, how the medication affected me immediately, how it affects me today, and what my plans are for the future with it. So let's dive in. So basically I've had depression and anxiety my entire life. I just never really knew what it was. So I didn't really know how to diagnose it. It wasn't until I had my baby and a few months after my baby, when my baby blues turned into something a lot more serious and I could no longer continue living the way I was living. So my anxiety and depression before giving birth was manageable. Just to give y'all an idea, I am a yoga teacher. I've been teaching for a few years. I've been practicing yoga. I practice deep breathing techniques, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, going to therapy. I do all of these things that I've been able to manage my depression and anxiety. But it wasn't until after a few months of having my baby that these natural things that I was doing that worked for the last few years were no longer working. And I tried everything possible, went to a postpartum specialist, therapist. I tried CBD oil. I tried to change my diet. I tried all these things and nothing worked. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I couldn't make very simple decisions. I was deeply, deeply sad and extremely disconnected from myself, which meant I was disconnected from the world. There came a point that I was scared to be alone. I was hurting so badly that I didn't want to continue being in this pain. And if that meant not living, then that's where my mindset was going. So it was basically a life or death situation. So I finally went to my doctor. I got prescribed the medication. I still wasn't excited about taking medication, but because I was in such a dark place, I had nothing else, no other ideas of how to get myself out of the situation. I started taking the medication. Luckily, my doctor did warn me that the first couple of weeks would be really difficult and to really be mindful that if I had any suicidal thoughts, to immediately call the doctor. She also said that it would probably take about 6 weeks to really take effect. And this is daily medication. I'm not sure the dosage, but she said it was the lowest dosage of citalopram, which I believe is maybe generic for Celexa. I can't remember. I did the research a while ago and now I can't remember. But anyway, so I started taking that. And the first week was actually worse. That I didn't think that was even possible, to feel worse than I did before taking the medication. If you've never experienced brain fog, it's really hard for me to describe. But basically think about not sleeping for a week straight and not being able to concentrate on anything. It was even harder to get out of bed. It was so difficult for me to pick up a pretzel and put it in my mouth. It took that much effort. I had to be really focused, and it was just a major struggle to do anything. And before, I felt really disconnected and numb, but I was still feeling pain. I was still feeling sadness. The first week of taking my medication, I didn't feel a thing. I couldn't even cry. And if you know me, I am a huge crier. I cry when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry. And I couldn't feel anything. I've always been a really emotional person, so to be really disconnected from any emotion was bizarre and kind of scary. So I felt like a zombie. I didn't know who I was, couldn't do anything, but I remembered what the doctor said and was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying this. So the second week was better. It was still really difficult. I still didn't feel like myself. I felt like a shell of a human being. Like I felt soulless. But I kept on going. And I think it was about 4 weeks in that I felt a lot better. And it was about 6 weeks that I felt like my old self. And I can't tell you how much of a relief that was, that the medication gave me my life back. I was still anxious and had, moments of depression, but because of the medication, I was able to use those techniques that worked before: meditation, journaling, therapy, grounding practices, breathing practices. I was able to do all those things and pull myself up out of the downward spiral instead of just falling into the deep, dark pit. So I think I started taking medication in around September of 2019. It's now end of July 2020, and I've been on it since then. And to be honest, when I first started the medication, I wanted to get off of it as soon as possible. But that hasn't happened yet, and that's okay. COVID is happening, and I quit my job. I started a new job. I'm taking care of a baby. I'm still trying to feel at home in my postpartum body. There's been a lot of changes, and I haven't felt ready to take that step of coming off the medication. So I'm happy where I am right now. I do want to come off of it eventually, and I'll happily share that process if it happens. Hopefully it does eventually. But yeah, my goal for the future is just to keep listening to my body, keep doing what I'm doing, keep checking in to see how I'm feeling, and be really, really honest with myself about how I'm feeling. And if I need to up my medication, I'm okay with it, or I will be okay with it. So when I'm ready in the future, eventually I'll come off of it. But for now, I'm just gonna take it day by day, minute by minute, and try to appreciate where I am today. Because honestly, without medication, I don't know if I would be here. And everybody that I've talked to really openly about this, every person is different. Every kind of medication is different. Maybe you only need meditation. Maybe you only need yoga. But please know that personally, coming from the yoga community where people do tend to judge Western medication a little bit, as I did at one point in my life, if that's what you need, take it. This is your life, nobody else's, and there's not a one size fits all. There's not a one right way to do anything. So if you are watching this and maybe conflicted about getting on medication, please talk to your doctor. Talk to multiple doctors. See a postpartum therapist. Or if you're just experiencing regular anxiety and depression, go to a regular therapist. Just be open-minded and know that your journey is going to look different than everyone else's, and that's okay. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. So thank you guys so much for listening. I tried to include everything that I thought would be helpful. But if you have any further questions, I am an open book. Please reach out to me. I'd love to chat if you'd like. But if not, thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day, and treat yourself well in whatever you do. You deserve it. Namaste.